It seemed like for the next 32 years, I searched for what I had at 16 years old and was never able to find it. So for 32 years, I was searching for that feeling, that touch, that scent, the taste of her teardrops on that day I last saw her.
That was 54-year-old Harry, a 2-time cancer survivor, talking about the love of his life, Judy, his angel. Welcome to episode 13 of the X Perspective podcast. I'm your host, Raj. You know that feeling when you feel you have missed out on something really special? And you just wish, if only you had another chance, things would be different? Well, Harry Fish carried these feelings for over 3 decades. His heart ached to find his true love, which had slipped away. Yes, Harry's story is about rekindled love, but it's also about his expectations he has set for himself as a husband. But why does he have these expectations for himself? What's motivating him? I will tell you this much. His whole world revolves around Judy and his Christian faith. It's an intriguing episode, so come with me and let's dive into Harry's world. You met the love of your life, Judy, as a teenager, but around 1 year into the relationship, it ended because Judy left your hometown of New Jersey and moved to Florida. How did you cope with this heartache?
I was absolutely devastated. I cried for months. Oftentimes, people disparage or downplay puppy love. You know, they use that term, you're only 16, you have no idea what love is, and that's simply not true. After she left in 1987, it seemed like for the next 32 years, I searched for what I had at 16 years old and was never able to find it. So for 32 years, I was searching for that feeling, that touch, that scent, the taste of her teardrops on that day I last saw her, and never found it.
Why do you think you never found that feeling again?
I believe Judy is the standard of the perfect woman. You know, they say you find the love of your life and nobody will ever fill that position, and in my case, that void. And so you chase around the entire world looking for someone to fill that position. But if God has that one person for you that's designed to fill that void in your life, if there's only one and you have that one and that one got away, you'll never find it. You know, you may find someone that would suffice in the meantime, or what we normally say you'll settle for, but you'll never replace what was perfect.
I understand that you guys reunited after 32 years.
Mm-hmm.
What took so long, and how did you finally meet each other?
One of the complications of being old is we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers. There was no social media. We had letters, stamps, and newspapers. That was it. So there was no way to really communicate with each other. Somehow we lost each other's addresses. And when you lose that, you're almost done unless there's a common denominator, a friend or a relative that's still in touch. And in our case, there were none. There were other things at play. She got married, I got married, but with her name changed. Now, Judy's lineage is from Puerto Rico. So she had a very common last name, Martinez, gazillion Martinez in the world, right? Then she got married and got another common name after that, which made the needle in the haystack even more difficult to find. So it was almost like, okay, you try to find her for years and years and years and years, and then you just give up. It's like, okay, it's not going to happen. I would still dream about her. I would have these fantasies of what if I walk around this corner and just by happenstance bump into her? How would I respond?
Can you briefly describe how you guys reconnected?
Unbeknownst to me, she found me on social media. Back then, it was MySpace. She didn't reach out. She was married at the time. She was just happened to be fumbling around. And she was like, oh, there's Harry, She never reached out to me because she respected the sanctity of marriage. And she was married. Never reached out, never touched bases with me, never reached out to any of my relatives because she knew my whole family.
But she was curious enough because she added you on MySpace?
No, she didn't add me.
But she found you.
She just found me. She saw a picture of me. But nope, never clicked and wanted to be friends or anything. She kept her distance. She was very deliberate in that.
So then how is it that you connected with her if she never friended you?
Years later, Facebook comes on the scene. And she finally reached out through Facebook. She was going through some marital issues then. And she sends me an inbox message. And my heart dropped. I was just like, no way, this can't be.
Yeah.
And she sent me a message. I forgot exactly what she said. But it was, hey, hope all is well. Something very generic. It wasn't anything like I was hoping it was going to be like, hey, I found you. I miss you so much. It was nothing like that. It was very short and blunt. Hey, good to see you're doing well. Take care. Judy. Boom. That was it.
But you must have been so happy because she contacted you.
I was happy that she was alive. I was happy to hear from her. I was happy that she found me. I was incredibly disappointed because that message was so blunt and short, and she gave me nothing, no indication that there was ever going to be anything.
What I find so amazing is all these years you were looking for her, and she was also at some level, obviously thinking about you, and that's why she reached out to you.
Yeah.
And it was almost, to me, it feels like it was meant to be.
Again, although she was having problems in her marriage, she still respected the fact that she was still married. In 2014, my youngest son, was graduating from high school. Unbeknownst to us as well, my son was living with his mother. Her and I had divorced, was living in a complex next door to them, and we did not know it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think they were in one complex, and my ex-wife and my two children were next door to them. At any rate, my son was graduating high school, and I sent her an inbox, and I said, listen, my son is graduating. I will be in Tampa. Would love to see you. We don't even have to get out of the car. I just want to see your face, say hi, and it would just be great to see you. She wouldn't even show up because she told me, she says, no, that's too risky because if I see you, I'm afraid something would happen. I'm still married. That wouldn't be right. I get there and I say, hey, just to let you know, I'm here. This is where I'm staying. And for 3 days, I prayed that I would hear a knock at the door, see someone in the parking lot, nothing. So now I'm just like, oh, this is a nightmare. This is like, I just want to see her face. So I'm being tortured in a sense, right? So this was 2014. Several years later, she finally leaves her husband. She gets her own place and she reaches out again. So I finally left, and she's left a couple times, but this time she said, I finally left, I'm not going back. I've had enough. Just wanted you to know, take care. What is this?
Take care.
Yeah, I'm just like, why does she end this way? And she would disappear for weeks or months at a time. I would respond to her, hey, how you doing? How's it going? How's it, how things coming along? And it would be weeks or months before she would respond. I was like, all right, so she's clearly not interested, or she's still wounded from what she's going through, which is understandable. But, some dialogue would at least be nice.
The agony you were sensing all this time. You just wanted to see her.
Yeah, like if I could just look at you, I would be happy, right? Finally, 2019, we finally see each other for the first time in 32 years. Okay, we'll meet in a neutral place and we'll see what happens. So we both fly to a neutral place. I get there super early, of course, 'cause I'm anxious. I put on a suit. I've got my smell good on. I'm looking my best. I see her coming through the terminal, and she sees me, and immediately she crosses her arms. And I'm like, she does not like what she, I'm into body language. So
right.
I'm reading the signs. I'm just like, all right, this is not good. Apparently, I'm not as handsome as I thought I was, even with the suit on. I'm just like, hey, how are you? She gives me a hug, and immediately she crosses her arms again. And we're walking towards the hotel shuttle. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be a disaster. So we get on the shuttle, I kind of, rub her leg. I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. I just wanted to see, there's no pressure, And finally she puts her arms down and she's like, no, it's just nervous. I've been married, I've been with this guy for, 20 something years or almost 20 years. I forgot what she said. And I've never seen anyone else or, blah, 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 blah. So we get to our hotel and I lean in and I just kiss her. And it was just like, finally the ice is broken and the rest is history. We've been inseparable ever since.
I really want to know, how did you feel when you finally laid eyes on her after 32 years?
I distinctly remember saying to myself, fairy tales do come true. I felt like this would make an amazing movie. Like Walt Disney must have been onto something. And they lived happily ever after. Like, this is so unreal.
Well, you did end up getting married to her.
Yes, I did.
But after you got married, about a year later, you were diagnosed with tonsil cancer.
Mm-hmm.
What role did Judy play in helping you beat the cancer?
Judy is, by nature, she's a caring, unselfish, nurturing person. My concern was for her. Her concern was for me. The whole time, we're worried about each other. And she's probably, if not the most sensitive person I know, one of the most sensitive people I know. And I'm concerned about her breaking down and just losing it. And she never let me worry about that because she never let me see that emotional side.
And how did that make you feel?
That actually took a great burden off of me because she never let me see her vulnerability. Most of the time, I was very lethargic and asleep. I was just out of it. I was slowly withering away. I started out at 263 pounds and withered down to 153 pounds. And she was just so helpful. Here, let me help, bathe you. Baby, please try to eat something you have to eat. I don't want them to have to put a feeding tube in you. Please try to eat something. Can I get you anything? Here's another blanket. Let me change your pillow. I mean, very, what you expect a nurse to do, she was doing. I'll take you to your appointments. Of course I'm going to your next appointment. just very nurturing, everything you would expect the perfect wife to be. She slept next to me every night. She didn't let anyone bother me. I'm in contact with about 90 to 95% of all of my military brothers and sisters. All of them were calling her. She was taking all of their calls. She knows all of my friends because I was sick. Even today, a lot of my friends call her. Hey, how's bro doing? Like, I'm just, who you talking to? Oh, that's Gaston. And I'm just, how do you know? What is going on? Oh, yeah. He used to call and check on you all the time. And she never let me know. She was giving them all updates. All of my Facebook people know her.
She took care of you 100% in any way possible.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, about 3 years ago, you had your major artery burst.
Yep. Same year as the tonsillar cancer.
Can you describe briefly for the audience what that day was like? What happened?
Ooh, this was scarier than the tonsillar cancer. I was starting to feel better. I was finally up walking around, starting to regain some of my strength. I am a chef by trade. So I says, you know what? I'm going to get up. I'm going to make a banana pudding and some banana bread. Banana pudding was done. Banana bread was done, but I wanted to go and wash the dishes. I'm at the sink, and all of a sudden, this gush of blood starts coming out of my mouth as if there was a spigot inside of my throat and someone turned it on full blast. And I'm talking, I lost units of blood in minutes. The miraculous thing is I never lost consciousness. And I'm talking blood to where I had to get a transfusion. Never lost consciousness of blood. God stopped the bleeding. By the time the paramedics got there, the bleeding had stopped. I'm describing to the paramedics what happened. I'm on the stretcher, now in the ambulance, I'm in the emergency room, and I'm describing to the doctors what happened. And they're like, do you have any pain now? No, sir. Bleeding stopped? Yes, sir. Well, we'll keep you just for observation. Okay. I'm upstairs. Let's do I don't know if it was a CAT scan or an MRI. Well, Mr. Fish, you had a ruptured carotid artery. I didn't know what that was. I says, okay. Well, the Lord fixed it, so I can go home now. He said, well, let's hold on a second. Again, I didn't know how severe it was. He says, what you need to understand is if you clear your throat, cough, sneeze, whatever, it could happen again, and you could potentially bleed to death. 65% of people who have this happen die.
It's life-threatening.
Very much so. The other 35% become vegetables or severely handicapped. None of this happened to me. So I talk about my faith often. I know the Lord loves me because of what I've been through and what I'm able to. You would not look at me now and think that I have been through what I have been through and not at least consider there's something different about this guy. I don't know what it is, but this guy is just different. So I opted to go ahead and have the surgery. They had to put the coils in my artery so that it didn't happen again. The next day, I went home.
And we'll talk more about your religious aspect and how you believe in God and you're a Christian. But before we do that, let me just ask you, what role did Judy play during this time? How did she help you?
So she was the one that called the paramedics. And at this point, as the doctors were, or as the paramedics were rolling me out, I remember thinking, the cancer didn't kill me. but I'm about to bleed to death.
Mm-hmm. Terrifying.
Yeah, but not in the way that you think. I'm not afraid of dying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of what's going to happen to my wife, right? Who's going to look after my baby? After 32 years, we finally reconnected and we're building this beautiful life together. Who's going to take care of the love of my life? Who is going to care for her and love for her the way she deserves to be loved? Who's going to protect her? Who's going to nurture her mind and her soul and spirit? Who is going to give her what she deserves? So she comes to the hospital and she's sitting there, and I can tell she's nervous because she doesn't know what's going on either. She stays there overnight and she says, okay, I'm going to run home. I'm going to go get you some clean clothes. I'm going to shower and then come back. While she's gone is when the doctor comes in and tells me what happened. And he says, well, we recommend you get the surgery. I says, okay, but can we do it now? I wanted to do it while Judy was home getting changed because I didn't want her sitting there or pacing back and forth worrying about me.
Harry, earlier in this year,
Mm-hmm.
in 2025, you had to remove a big part of your colon.
Yep.
Why is that?
So I think it was either November or December of last year, I was diagnosed with colon cancer.
Another cancer.
Another cancer. January 22nd, the day before my 54th birthday, I had 1.5 feet of my large intestine removed to remove the cancer.
I know that you beat the tonsil cancer.
Yes.
And what about this colon cancer?
Beat it.
Awesome.
Gone.
Why do you think that you had the unfortune to even have to have 2 cancers and a life-threatening artery incident?
For the glory of God.
Can you explain that?
I don't believe I would have met you. I would have met Jason and been on this podcast had it not happened. So this message now is being spread to your vast audience and is now being given as a testimony to the goodness of God.
I want to talk more about expectations.
Okay.
I understand you hold certain expectations of yourself as a husband.
Yes.
Can you explain to the audience what they are?
After my sickness, I have purposed within myself after my sickness to give her a life that if I die, she could still live the life that she wants. So although she is not at the retirement age, because of my income through my disabilities through the VA, I was able to retire her if we move to Southeast Asia because the cost of living is so much lower. Long story short, my income is 3 times more valuable here than it is in the United States.
Okay, Harry, talking about the expectations, I want to know more about why is it so important for you to meet these expectations?
Judy is my gift from God. God has entrusted her to me. After 32 years, He has allowed her to come back into my life. And she is the jewel that any and every man would be honored to have in their life and would go absolutely mad if they lost it.
I get the sense that you are putting on heavy expectations, high expectations on yourself to fulfill the role of a husband for Judy. How do you deal with that, though?
It's easy when you're in love. It's easy when you're in love. There's a scripture that says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. This is the third time since February that Judy has been more than 20 feet away from me. It is not often that we are not hand in hand, side by side. It's weird to be
Separated?
Or at least within eye distance, right? It's strange to see one without the other.
Harry, you mentioned that it's easy because you're in love with your wife.
Yes.
But I imagine there are days when you can't meet every expectation, and it's
Sure you can.
So you're telling me that you're able to meet up to your expectations. You hold of yourself as a husband every single day.
Every single day. Now, don't get me wrong. I am still human. You still see beautiful women that are attractive. You're not blind, but you know what? I'll share that with Judy. You know what I mean? It's hey, now we're both photographers. It's more of it's not a sexual thing. It's an admiration of beauty. Right? It's not like, hey, babe, let's. It's not like we want to be swingers or something like that. It's an appreciation of beauty, or she would photograph well. But we share that. It's easy. It's easy to love.
Harry, how would you feel if you were not able to live up to the expectations you have set for yourself as a husband?
Devastated. I would be absolutely devastated. I've never considered failure, and I don't anticipate failure. So being here in Thailand, and I've been here before, but I see people way less fortunate than I am, and they're making it. Now, of course, we're talking in terms of finances. My first time in the Philippines back in 1989, way less fortunate than I am. And they were some of the happiest people I had ever seen at that point. If they can do it, I can do it.
Okay, so you're referring to the financial stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking more about the emotional support and the love. What if you are not able to meet your set standards? How would that make you feel? Because that is a possibility, right?
Not for me.
No.
That's innate. I believe when you're with your person, I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's possible. So even when we're home, we are on the same cushion of the same couch. It's that we now don't get me wrong. There are times when I would like to go off and do my own thing, but if I were to do that, it would not be long before I says, man, I wish Judy was here.
Yeah, you'd miss her.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to being around
together.
her.
Yeah.
So, Harry, you mentioned earlier that you do want to have these expectations as a husband because she's your angel and God has sent her to you. Mm-hmm. But is there something aside from what God wants that's coming from within you to want to fulfill those expectations?
When you search for something for 32 years and you finally obtain it, what else is there? I've never longed for anyone or anything more than her. She is.
So that is why you have all that motivation and strength to give her your all.
My all.
And that is why you know in your heart that you will not fail at your expectations.
Never. It's not an option.
Have your life-threatening illnesses helped you redefine your expectations as a husband? And if so, can you explain?
The only thing that it's done is added a sense of urgency. I need to make preparations now because tomorrow is not promised. It's again, I hate to sound repetitive, but it's hard to separate my spirituality from my obligations to her. And what I mean by that is I know I'm going to live a long life. And I'll tell you why. There is a scripture that says, and I'll paraphrase it, if you honor your father and mother, your days will be long upon the land, right? I honored my mother and father until both of them gave their last breath. I hold that dear. And while that was specifically given to the Jews and not necessarily to me, I have lived my entire life under that creed. I am absolutely 100% sure I am going to live a long life. So when things happen to me, I know death is not near, not yet. During the earthquake of this year here in Thailand, on the 34th floor, and I'm watching my building swing back and forth, and I hear the walls cracking and the ceiling dropping above me, and I am barefoot trying to run down 34 flights of steps with my wife in my hand. I know the end is not near.
So then what do you mean by this urgency?
The urgency is that I have to make preparations for her now. We have to do it just in case. Although I am bold and emphatic in my faith, I still must use wisdom. Because I hold true to my belief, I'm not invincible. I can't be a fool.
Okay, so just to be clear, when you say there's an urgency to set up life for Judy, besides the finances, what else are you referring to, if anything?
Her happiness, her fulfillment. She's been through a lot. She's very delicate, very fragile, and she has been through so much pain, and all she does is worry about everybody else. She puts so many people before herself, and she asks for nothing. We go shopping, and she wants to look at the bargain bin. Why? Well, I don't like spending money on myself. I want her to feel like she is the luckiest woman on earth. She's humble. She feels like she doesn't deserve it, like she's not worthy. And that's why I do it.
Harry, this is a difficult question, but
Okay.
let's just go a little bit deeper here. She's been with you through a lot of hard times.
Yes.
Is there any part of you besides feeling the emotion of love? Like, do you feel any kind of guilt that she has had to go through a lot? Is it anything like that from which you are trying to provide her with the life that you are?
I think it's more empathy. I think with her being my jewel, my treasure, that I have an obligation to make her feel and make her know how much I love her.
There is a famous poem by Brian A. Chalker. Its opening line reads, "People come into your life for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime." Do you believe in this sentiment? Why do you think Harry found his way back to Judy? And do you believe there is only one true love for you in this whole world? To my listeners who are husbands, I want you to ask yourself, what expectations, if any, do you set for yourself as a husband, and why? My listeners, thank you for your time and attention. But before you go, I have one last question. Have you visited our website yet? You'll find us at theexperspectivepodcast.com. It was built specifically for us by an awesome company called Stegadon Software. They help small businesses level up with sleek, modern websites and custom apps without any tech headaches. They got our website up and running in no time and were very attentive to all our needs and concerns. If you're curious about what they can do for you, mention the X Perspective podcast and you'll get a free consultation. Check them out at stegedonsoftware.com. That's STEGODON software.com. Stegedon Software. Smart software, fewer obstacles. My listeners, if you have enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you followed us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We have many thought-provoking episodes coming up this season. You can also find the X Perspective podcast easily on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And you know what would be really awesome? If you can tell just one other person about our podcast. It would mean the world to me, as it helps other people find these incredible stories. Thanks again for listening. See you in episode 14.